It means you can only leave home for the duration of January if you have a reasonable excuse to do so. So for an essential purpose, that could be caring responsibilities, essential exercise, essential shopping. But just as was the case back in March, we are saying to people, stay home to save lives and protect the National Health Service.
And there would be penalties if you were caught?
The fixed penalty notice scheme applies as it did back in March, but we don't want to rely on enforcement. We want to rely on the good sense of people and the collective national determination I think we still have to defeat this virus. We're in a very perilous situation right now because of this new, faster spreading strain. We're in a race. We've got the vaccines in one lane. We're speeding that up as much as we can, but we've got to slow down the virus in the other lane to make sure the vaccines can get ahead and ultimately win this race. And that requires real sacrifices again from all of us, which nobody likes, including me, but it is essential to stop people dying who otherwise wouldn't die and to stop our National Health Service being overwhelmed. We see in other parts of the UK right now what might lie ahead if we don't act quickly and decisively.
Is this fast-spreading strain spreading out of control in Scotland?
The danger is it will do if we don't act.
But is it just now? 15%, that's 3 times the WHO level.
You could argue, yes, it is. I mean, that's not a technical term, what out of control means. Above 5% is what the WHO say is indicative of an epidemic being out of control. But we know, if we take the week from the 23rd to the 30th of December, our daily case numbers increased by 65%. We see test positivity going up. And we see in London and the South East that they are possibly about 4 weeks ahead of us, and their test positivity is hitting 30%, whereas we've got just over 200 cases per 100,000 a week at the moment. They've got 900. So that's what we've got to avert, but we have to act now and we have to act firmly to do it.
Your target is to try and get the R number below 1. What's your timescale for that target?
Look, as quickly as possible. We know the life cycle of this virus. It takes 3 to 4 weeks for these measures to properly work because of the way the incubation period of it. Now, one of the unanswered questions about this new strain is whether it perhaps is a shorter incubation period, and that's one of the reasons it's spreading faster. We don't want these restrictions to be in place for any longer than necessary, but they are necessary right now. Our health service is under pressure, and we must stop it being overwhelmed so it can care for everybody who needs it.
But you couldn't realistically open schools if it's well above that 1, could you?
We won't open schools again unless it is safe to do so. We can't compromise the safety of our children. We have been satisfied up until now schools have been safe. But this new virus changes that in 2 ways. New strain changes that in 2 ways. It is leading to higher community transmission, which has always been a problem for keeping schools open. And there is still uncertainty amongst the scientific community about the impact of it in transmission amongst young people.
But that 1st of February target for reopening the classrooms, it's not really realistic, is it?
I hope it is realistic, but I'm just trying to be frank with people.
But you hope it is?
Well, look, I can't.
What do you think?
Well,
what are the scientists advising
Colin,
you on that?
I've tried, as you know, that it is not impossible, but we can't say for sure right now that it will be achievable. I've tried all along to be clear with people about the uncertainties of this, and I don't want to, insult people's intelligence by getting beyond our knowledge. I hope that is possible. We will review it again on the 18th of January. But the key point here is we've all got a part to play. If all of us, however much we regret it, accept and abide by these restrictions, we start to suppress community transmission again, and that creates the conditions for getting schools open again as quickly as possible.
You're more worried now than you have been since March, you said. Is that because of the pressures on the NHS and the prospect of the number of deaths we could be facing?
It is a combination, but it is driven by this. This virus is transmitting 70% faster than the previous strain of the virus. That is a really serious problem. The NHS is under strain. It's coping, huge pressure on frontline staff. But if we do nothing right now, our modelling suggests our NHS could be overwhelmed within 3 to 4 weeks. Now, we talk about the NHS being overwhelmed. That's a systems thing to say. In human terms, yes, that would mean more people getting ill and more people dying. And as First Minister, I've got a duty, as I've had all along, to take the, yes, at times very unpopular, but necessary decisions to keep the country as safe as I possibly can.
Do you think people have got a bit complacent about this after 9 months? Do you think they've dropped their guard a bit? I mean, you got into trouble for not wearing a mask. We've all done something like that. Is that happening now?
We've all done it. And I, as we saw before Christmas, I'm as susceptible to that as anybody. These momentary lapses, or perhaps in some cases just because we're so fed up with it, some people will have decided, well, you know what, I'm just going to do something that I want to do. That's understandable from a human perspective, but it is risking the transmission. So this is a moment, just as we all in March, we said not what can we get away with, we all said what do we need to do to stop this virus. That's what we've got to do again, stay home to protect lives and protect the NHS.
First Minister, thanks for joining us in the STV News.
Thank you.